Good morning, everybody. Cheers. So for the slightly late start, my milk frother wasn't frothing. Terrible. Had to solve that. Most important. Yep. Need to get that coffee going. And this picture maker says stream starts soon. It's interesting. Hi, everyone. Welcome. How's everyone's week been? Move here-ish for a couple of hours and have to relocate back home. Relocate to your home or just move back home? Cock-a-doodle-doo. Hello to Shippu. How are you? Hello, Graham. And Rat Madness first in. Moo Rat. Hey, David Esser. Hello, Quindor. Netherlands represent. It's always coffee time. This might be my second for the day, but the first one wasn't with milk. Had I done that, I would have known it wasn't working straight away. So I didn't stream last week. It's been an interesting couple of weeks. I've been no, not that one. That one. Okay. I have been just split between so many different things that it's been totally infuriating. But I got through most of it, which is great. Hello, Johnny. Hello, the mediocristist. What a tongue twister that one is. Hello, Infamy 4K. What is it? What is what? What is what? Aussies love their coffee. Not everyone. Yaz doesn't drink coffee. My wife. So, just back home from office. Right. Okay. We have that whole work from home rules thing coming in here in Victoria, making it law that every company has to allow their staff to work from home from X many days a week. It's stupid. Government's getting in the way of telling businesses how to run their business is just not on. So what is what, Johnny? I need to know what Johnny wants to know. What is what? So anyway, split my time. It was actually quite bad. Too many things to get done, juggling all over the place, unfocused. But in the end, I actually got to. Well, I'll show you. I can work from home, but they do like everyone in the office for core hours, 10 to 4. Yeah, just some things have to happen in an office, and some things have to happen face to face, not video to video, I believe. And yeah, governments should govern, and businesses should run their businesses, and governments should not tell businesses how to run their businesses. And I might be biased because I'm a business owner, but they feed you. Oh wow, okay. Well, it's worth going in just to get fed. Or it depends what they're feeding you, right? That's what unions are for. Yeah, no, unions are the only thing unions are for are hurting business. Anyway, let's not go down this road. I haven't met my co-workers face to face since 5 years now. Some roles can be done remotely, sure, absolutely, but some can't. And making a blanket law in the state that I live in that says that all businesses have to allow their staff to work from home. I mean, obviously some can't. Like if you work in retail, you can't work from home. Anyway, it's a stupid law. It's they're doing it to try to get votes. And anyway, you started this, Johnny. You started the political talk. No, you didn't. You didn't. I did. My fault. Bad Sion. Bad Sion. I don't have any co-workers anymore since starting my own. That's why I joined the stream. It's like co-workers. Yeah, I mean, the only communication I get with people is on my stream now. I get the occasional visitor and obviously going on site with clients, but not the same. For once, exactly, Johnny, for once you were totally innocent. Totally innocent. So, okay, let's start with, I was going to wait for more people to come on, but I reckon I'm at the peak already. I want to start with showing you, should I change camera view? Let me change camera view. I have to put it on black. If the camera doesn't like focusing on board on white. Let's see if it focuses at all. So this is Feather S31D. Speaking of being face-to-face, there is an espresso conference in Italy. Am I going to drop in? Italy's a very long way for me to go to just drop in. I did see that announcement, and I was looking at it. Yeah, my boss is also a problematic person. I don't want to talk about him on stream today, in case he's watching. Anyway, I built this, I actually built it yesterday, finally. It's been sitting here for a few days. So it's S31. I got silicon finally. It's an S31. It's a big chip. Well, big-ish compared to a... Let me get an S3. Okay. There is a Feather S3. Oh, okay, well, it doesn't look that much bigger, but it is. It's a bigger chip. Oh. If I put it that side, can't really. Can I get closer? I was pushing the camera down. I still haven't fixed this camera. Oh, a bit better. Okay. So the chip's a bit bigger, but there's also a lot more and friends, a lot more passives and stuff around it that's required compared to the S3. There's quite a bit more. So yeah, just space-wise, it was a fun challenge. But Shanghai is closer. Shanghai also has its challenges of dealing with Chinese. So the S31 has built-in PSRAM. So there's 16 megabytes of PSRAM inside the S31. And I've got 16 megabytes of flash on the outside. So I didn't need to put PSRAM inside. It's an interesting chip. And so I built the prototype, and obviously it's brand new. It requires IDF 6.1, 6.2 actually. Of course, MicroPython's still on 5.55, and CircuitPython has moved to 6.01, I think. None of them are usable with the S31. Obviously, Arduino is a long way away. But there's the current master branch of IDF. So I started having a play in IDF land and discovered something about the chip that I wasn't aware of. And it's a bit of a showstopper. It's a bit of a showstopper, actually. And it's it's not something that I think they're going to address So, well, actually, Quindor, for you, it might be not a showstopper in that apparently the P4 is the same, and they never changed this on the P4. But the P4 for me is not a chip that's in the same space as the S31. So, here's the thing. The S31, it was the S3, the S2 and the S3 has a USB peripheral, right? It's got different endpoints, and you've got, got its USB serial JTAG, and let me just go back to here. Got USB serial JTAG, and it's got an on-the-go USB, and everything is connected to the D plus and D minus pins, right? And internally they route differently. So if you initialize it with the USB serial JTAG or the CDC, that gets routed to it. If you want to use the on-the-go, that gets routed to the D plus D minus. And what it means is you can't use the on-the-go peripheral at the same time as USB serial JTAG. Sure. That's why the Espressif boards, when they have two USB ports, they've got a serial UART on one of them sometimes, right? But what it means is you can boot off the USB in whichever mode you want. You can be in download mode. You can get serial output from the USB on bring up if you've got the USB serial JTAG stuff initialized, and you can be connected to the USB and flash the board. So the S31 isn't like that. The S31 has USB on the go, high-speed USB on the go, and USB serial JTAG, and they are not routed to the same pins. USB serial JTAG is routed to two other pins, and you can actually go through the mux and put them in other pins as well, but you can't put them on D plus and D minus. D plus and D minus is dedicated 100% just to the on-the-go, which you'd think, okay, not necessarily a problem, but Espressif do not provide any support for using the on-the-go port as serial output at all. No, it's not going to need a bootloader. This is not solvable by a bootloader. Just hear me out. So what it means is that right now they have no support for getting serial output at all via D plus and D minus at all. They only offer UART 0 and serial JTAG. And apparently that's the same as the P4, which I never really built a board with the P4. And the P4's been out for a while now, and they've never changed that. So I decided to see what was missing in the IDF land. Let me actually, I've not even checked the thing this morning. I see another USB port. My ports are bigger. Right. Well, so you can't do that on a feather board because a feather board is a fixed format, right? It's a fixed layout. Can't put two USBs on it. And CircuitPython won't work that way, right? MicroPython maybe, but maybe not. Whatever. There's no support in MicroPython for doing like that. So hang on, let me. Okay, so I did some research. No one has selected for. Oh, issue is selected for development. Ah, that's by a bot though. Mm-hmm. I don't trust it. Okay, so what I did was I went through and I'll show you the document of what I put in. So I put an issue in, but I got it. Okay, I put an issue in, basically stating that there's no USB CDC console stuff over on the go. I did a write up about why it's important, and whatever. And what I actually did is I actually got it working, but I didn't do a PR on purpose because there's no way they're going to accept a PR of what I did. Not the way I did it anyway. But what I did was actually got, actually, I might be able to show you. Okay. Well, hang on, before I do that, sorry, this is out of order. This is going to bite people though. This is going to potentially be a problem. So I wanted to kind of bring it up, but so just quickly, anyway, I did get it going. As you can see, I've got RGB LED. This is all through IDF. RGB LED is cycling. Blinking my IO13. And I do actually have serial output coming from this right now. New screen. Devs USB modem 11200. What? Oh, 838. Okay. So, what am I doing? Coding. Right, here. This, you can see here, that's the serial output coming from the board. It's supposed to be, it doesn't matter. It's just showing what the RGB status is, the heap. And I got the LED on and off thing cycling wrong because it's flashing on and off every second, not toggling. So it always says off. But anyway, I've got output coming from it. This was not possible before. And so, let's get rid of that. What I did was, need that plugged in. Monitor. No, not monitor. No. Oh, come on. Stupid. Menu config. So what I added was, okay. Can I make that bigger? So this is the new menu config. They've actually got mouse control now, which is interesting. Hey Magicki is, if you go to component config, they have a ESP standard input output. Yep. And in there, in the channel for console output, I added USB CDC. So there was only UART 0, USB serial JTAG controller, which is not on D plus and D minus and can't be put on D plus and D minus. Neither is UART 0, that's TX and RX, or custom UART, and custom UART is not on D plus and D minus, right? You have to set TX and RX, but you can't do it to D plus and D minus. So I added USB CDC. And for the secondary, you've only got the option of USB serial JTAGs. I can't even select UART here, which is really frustrating. So all of this was possible to add because, no. Wow, that just crashed. Oh, there we go. Okay. So all of this was possible to add because everything was actually, all the capabilities in the S31 chip is there, but none of it was actually added. So all of the ROM stuff, all of the layouts, USB console, everything code-wise was empty. So if you look at the S3 code that supports all this, it was all populated. And if you look at the S31, it was all empty. So, between myself and Claude had to go and literally disassemble the bootloader stuff on the chip to kind of work out what the addresses were and stuff. But we got it going, and we added USB-C to C. And the problem is, you can see here, we had to find the addresses for all of the starts and everything else to make sure the stack was working correctly. A lot of crashing, a lot of problems, a lot of pain. It took quite a while to get going. The problem is that this works, but you can't, if you're connected, like I was just then with the serial output, you can't flash that port. You must put it in download mode to be able to flash it. And that's not solvable because the stuff that it needs to do that in the ROM of the chip isn't there. So the only way they can fully implement this the way the S3 works, which I really think they need to do, is with a ROM mask change in production on the chip. And there's just no way. They've already started mass production. But the chip I've got's a Rev 0, and I don't believe Rev 0 is going into production. I think it's Rev 0.1. I'm waiting to hear back from Espressive to see what the deal is. But I am pretty sure they're not going to solve this, and they're going to leave it like the P4 was. And what that means... Hey, Cable Tie, how you doing? What that means is that anything running an S31 is not going to run like any other ESP32 board that people are used to using, any single USB port board, right? So, hey, Technubulus. Oh, I need to speak to you after. I was thinking of you this morning. I was going to ping you before the stream, and then I ran out of time. So, yeah, I don't know what time it's going to be for you after the stream, but I'll reach out. I need to ask you a question about something. Just reminded me. Thank you. So I don't like right now. MicroPython won't work because you're not going to be able to. You can't run MicroPython through the on-the-go port of the of an SP32, right? An S3, whatever. It needs to go. It's a UART port or a serial port that gets exposed. And even if they added support like what MicroPython does, it doesn't really matter because MicroPython doesn't really work mass storage wise, and it's not going to work. It would need a complete reinvention of how MicroPython works. CircuitPython possibly, but you can't, for instance, you can't do the multi-stage bootloader stuff that TinyUSB does because that port is only on the go. Right? You can't hijack it. You can't do all. There is no support for anything, and all the serial stuff that I added is only app runtime stuff. I think that this is a complete showstopper, really, because sure, the chip might be really good for lots of stuff, but it's not an evolution of the S3 like they were kind of claiming. It's not their next step along, right? It's a complete sidestep with core functionality changes to how a USB port connected to the board works. You know, like you look at all the boards that are available on the market. I'm talking about, development boards, whatever. I'm not talking about people who make commercial products. And no, it's not a RISC-V quirk because I got it working. And all it's missing is the persistency variables in the ROM mask that allow it to remember. Like when I try to flash it, what happens is if I try to flash it, it resets the USB and it loses the port, and then you can't access it. It's not there, and you can't flash it. And the way they get around that on the S3 is they have persistency variables in the ROM mask, and so they get held. And when you tell it, you know how it can do that thing where it reboots, it restarts itself as the different peripheral in download mode, but at the same port. Right, that gets done with that persistent variable in the ROM mask. That's what's missing. So I got everything working except for that part, and that part requires a ROM mask change. So this looks like intent, not mistake. And so you look at every single board on the market. I'm not talking about Espressive's dev kits, right? I'm talking about all the boards, the Zao and the LilyGoes and the blah, blah, blah. Everything, all the boards you can see on Adafruit's website for CircuitPython, all of their boards, they're all single port USB. And you can't do single port USB with the S31. You can. I could rewire this and make it USB serial JTAG only, and then MicroPython then CircuitPython will never work on it. Well, it'll only work on it via a serial port. You'll never get a mass storage device because that requires the on-the-go part. So they've literally split it and not let you pick one or the other on the same USB ports, and I just don't know why they did it. There's no way they'll let me commit a ROM mask change. All you need is a needle and a steady hand. Right, or I need to put some dip switches on there so people can switch the USB port to which I/O. I mean, it's a real shame. It was it was very frustrating to find this out. I wasn't aware. If I would have spent more time on the P4, I would have been aware that the P4 did it. Had a USB hub. A USB hub won't help. Well, I see what you're saying. Have both connected to it and then connect to the USB hub. Right, the problem with that is you still can't do CircuitPython. You can't do mass storage. Well, you guess you can. What would it present itself as? You can't do the vid and PID thing. Like the computer would see the USB hub first. No, I know you're saying it's a joke, but it's actually not. I've got no room on the board. The board's pretty full. I got no room anyway. But yeah, look, this is it's a real pain. I was not expecting this at all. So quite frustrated, but I did get it up. And my plan was actually to get it up and then look at... So there's already a PR in MicroPython for someone who's... Well, it's not a finished PR, but for someone who's looking at porting to RDF6, because MicroPython's not on 6, and 6 has got some breaking changes. That work's already been done in CircuitPython, but it's the wrong version of 6. And so my plan was yesterday, do a bring up in RDF land and see what's involved, validate that my hardware works, and then maybe start brute forcing just some, CircuitPython or MicroPython. I was probably going to start with MicroPython because I don't need to get the whole tiny USB thing going to get MicroPython working. Well, I kind of don't on CircuitPython, but without the tiny USB stuff, bootloader stuff, it's kind of useless. But yeah, hit this and thought, disaster. So, and it's super early, right? I mean, I've validated everything on my board. Battery stuff's working. I've got I did a Wi-Fi scan. Woohoo! It recognizes the PSRAM, recognizes the flash, obviously. I mean, the PSRAM's internal. I'm assuming that hardware-wise, I'm good. So I could just go and panelize these, and I've got no silicon yet. I can make 9 more boards. The point is, I can get a board ready for production, and it's still going to be months and months until the software support, at least months. But if they can't solve this, or if they're not prepared to look at improving this, if they're not prepared to at least get the stuff I've done going, even if you always have to put it into download mode to flash it, which is a real pain, but we can live with that if we really had to. I don't know. It's a real miss as far as it's a swing and a miss from Espressive, I think. Anyway, so yeah. And then after this, things went a bit downhill for me because I had a slight oversight on the other board that I designed, which I was about to assemble. I've got it. Everything was set up, ready to go. I had the board in my... It's under the stencil. It's in there, ready to paste. But I did the S31 first. Where's the board? So this thing, desk, this thing, TINYC6 yeah. And I discovered something, and now I want to chuck it in the bin, maybe. Or I'm definitely not going to make it, not going to go into production for it. I discovered this, and it was my own stupidity, I guess. I need that one, and I need that one. So this is the C6 datasheet. This is the C61 datasheet. So I knew there were some differences between the two chips. C61 has PSRAM support, and the C6 doesn't. You can't, although there is a chip, it's not out yet, it's not even available as a sample yet. There is a chip apparently coming that's got flash and PSRAM built in on the C61, right? And if you use a internal flash one, you can't add external PSRAM. You can only use internal PSRAM, right? But that's okay. I've got hundreds of these HR2s, and I was going to... Thanks, Mediocrist. I need to come up with a an easier name to call. Look, I don't know about great work on it. I mean, look, it works. We'll see what they say. If they're willing to take a PR off me, I'll put it into a PR, no problem. Hello, SDG Electronics. So the use case, here's the thing. So what was cool about the C6 was it was their first Wi-Fi. It was 2.4 gigahertz, but it's Wi-Fi 6, so it's lower power, and it's got Zigbee and Thread. And it was newer BLE than the S3. S3 was BLE 5.0. I believe this is 5.2, possibly 5.3. And so it's got Zigbee and Thread. It's low power. It's got a high and low power cores. It's got too few I/O for like my tiny boards. Anyway, I do have a TINYC6. I've got the onboard and the UFL variants of my TINYC6 boards, but I stopped making them because, firstly, I was out of C6 chips, and I had C61 chips, and I thought, well, hang on, let's just move to a chip that's got PSRAM as well. And I knew that there was a couple of peripherals that were missing. So the C6 has... We'll look at the peripherals list. I know they're zoomed in at a different level, but well, not zoomed in, but they're... yeah, okay. It looks different. And so there are some things that are missing. So, for instance, there is no CAN bus on the C61. Right? And there is no RMT peripheral on the C61, which is a crazy thing not to have. Right. The C61 also doesn't have a high and a low power cores. It's just got the one core, right? Where the C6 has got a high power and a low power core. But the C61 does have and there's no RTC IO, right? But at the end of the day, like if you look over here on this side, the high power peripherals, right? You got RMT, you've got TWAI, which is their CAN bus, LED PWM, blah, 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 blah. Their temperature sensor, ADCs. I don't even know if there is an ADCs in here. Because if you look at the peripherals, okay, there is. There's ADC, whatever. This has got 3 UARTs. The C6 has got 2 UARTs. They've both got USB serial JTAG. Great. No on the go, whatever. But what I did not realize was the C61 does not have Thread or Zigbee. I did not realize that. So there is no point in me making a C61 board because what's it got that's different? Right? The S3 has no Zigbee or Thread. Right? And the key differentiator on the C6 is the Zigbee and Thread. Okay, it's got its lower processing speed but it also takes less power, blah, blah, blah. It's like, why have they called it a C61? It's a cut down different. Like, it's stupid. It's just a stupid naming. I had no idea there was no Zigbee and Thread. Wouldn't have even thought that they were gone on it. But apparently, well, not apparently, there's no Zigbee and Thread. So there is no reason at all for me to release a C61 at all, because it's inferior in almost every way to the C6. So, and I've got a fully, I haven't built the prototype, but I know it's going to work. Like, I don't need to actually build prototypes anymore to check my boards. I do. I need to check the RF or whatever, but at the end of the day, I'm not bringing up a brand new chip and ecosystem that I've never seen or understand and whatever. So I'm kicking myself. So now I need to go back so I've already told my resellers no more TINYC6. In fact, I had to cancel orders from Mauser because they had it on order, and I don't have any C6s here. I want to stop making any boards that I've got where the 2 variants, where there's an onboard antenna and an external UFL version. And so I don't want to keep making my current TINYC6. And what stopped me making a Series D like a TINYC6D board earlier was I'm 1 IO short. Like, there's literally isn't enough IO. And on the C61, it was the same problem. And I caved and I added a little IO expander so I could get that 1 extra IO. It's a 4-port output only IO expander. So now that I've done that and got that implemented, I'm going to have to do the same thing on the TINYC6, make a D variant, and keep doing the TINYC6 and not the C61, and I've got hundreds of C61 chips here, which yeah. So thankfully only hundreds and not thousands. But right now is the worst time ever for me to be trying to do a C6 board, because you can get C6 chips. They're like twice the price of what I paid for them last time. More than twice the price. And I'm going to have to use the variant that's got the built-in 8 megabytes of flash. So my current TINYC6 boards have got external flash, but I don't have room on the board to do external flash and put the dual antenna. So, Facebook Marketplace, ugh, Johnny, terrible. No, I'll find a use for them or not. I don't know. So I don't have any C6 chips anyway, but I'm going to have to get the 8s also, because I'm almost out of my external 8 megabytes of flash chips. And again, they're 4 times the price. There's always gotchas with ESP 32s to Shippu, always gotchas. This is just another one. So I need to do that, and I was going to look at doing that on stream today. I've actually got a project open It was actually an old attempt of me to get a this was done quite a while ago to try to get this working, and it didn't. It doesn't. Like I couldn't. This is an old layout version of it. This is obviously using the external flash. I was out of space. I had to make the board a bit longer. I couldn't route an LED. Lots of things, right? But if I go for the package with the internal 8 megabytes of RAM, I don't have to place that. I can rearrange. I can fit everything on, and I'll have space for that I/O expander. So, longboard. Well, I don't want to do a longboard edition. It's got to be compatible with my tiny boards. But I did this. Oh, so many. I did this. As I said, I'm getting rid of any of my boards that have the two variants. So, Tiny Pico D. First production run. These boards are all done and cleaned and tested. I have nothing to package them in yet because I've not done the cards. I've not done the labels. I've not updated the website, but these are my first. So, Tiny Pico, my first board. Do I have a first board here somewhere? Oh my God. Not only is this a first board, look at this. This is my very first Tiny Pico when, remember this? PS RAM was on the back. The what? Super microchip are great for that. And they also put SEL and SD on those pins. SEO and SWK on the same pins as USB D+. Really? Yeah, I got some of these too, Johnny. You still got some? Are they in use anywhere? Look at that. That was my original Tiny Pico. Is there a number on it? No, not even a version number. Anyway, and this is my latest. Still making Tiny Picos. How insane is that? So, this is a bit different now. There is some changes. So it's footprint compatible. They run SP. That's awesome. Well, Infamy's got some. 4K's got some as well. So there's some changes. Footprint I/O, it's fully compatible. I had the option of using a different version of the Pico chip, but it would have changed the I/O, and I didn't want to break drop-in compatibility. So it's drop-in compatible, but there's no more APA 102 on here anymore. It's now got a NeoPixel. So the I/O is the same for the RGB data and for the power, but it's now a little 1010 NeoPixel, not an APA 102. The Tiny Pico was the only boards that I've been making over the last 2 or 3 years that have an APA still. So that's gone. And yeah, it's dual antenna, like my other Series D boards. And running MicroPython. I did a custom build of MicroPython. I haven't done a PR yet. I will maybe today. Have one running on a Whopper board, I think. Awesome. 400, 600 orders the first week of Tiny Pico. Red Madness. It was 600. It was 600 something the first week.
Cian, Chad has disconnected.
Oh, and it restarts. Okay, good. So anyway, Tiny Pico D. So no more UFL version, and I've got like a couple of boards, odd ones left. This was because the antenna, right? I can't get these antennas anymore, right? I had no choice. I had to change antennas, And if I was going to change antennas, like my other boards, I didn't want to still make two different boards. It's just crazy. Oh, that's not a tiny S2. Try it again. Here we go. Tiny Pico. Tiny Pico. So there's a Tiny Pico with the old onboard antenna and the APA. Right, and the APA, and there's with UFL and the APA, and now it's dual with the onboard there with the RF switch in there, and everything else is the same except the, as I said, the LED, and even managed to keep it the same size. So, oh, out of focus. Sorry about that. So that's pretty cool. So they are done. Of what? Who's got? Who's going? Who's going? You going to sleep, Quindor? Oh, the wrong channel. Anyway, so that's exciting. That was a long time coming. It auto translated wrongly. What? It did a noise. What? You're trying to say nice. Noise. So, Tiny Pico into house. I just ran 200 of them. My first production run. And I have my new Tiny Pico Nano boards as well. They are not obviously Series D, but they're using the new RF. And they're sitting downstairs ready to run. I didn't get a chance to run them the other day.
TINYC6 says noise.
Noise. Yes. Nice. Very, very nice. Okay. So that's happening. Now, what else? I have finished the design for the hub cases. These are, look, they've got little feet. And these are printed in, doesn't look very matte, but these are matte ABS. That is, wait, is that, no, that's not the matte ABS one. Sorry, I lied. Hang on. I lied. Dun, dun, dun. No, they're both PLA. This one, and it's going to look the same. This one is matte ABS. They look the same, which is pretty cool. Hang on, I need to zoom out. That's just not workable. Where is my thing? Okay. So that's the matte ABS. A little bit shiny, shinier than I would have liked. You can see from the top. Maybe it's, hang on, there we go. Okay, this one here, it's focus. It's a bit shinier than the PLA, but nowhere near as shiny as normal ABS. I did also get some, I've tried 5 different attempts now, and I can't get it to print nicely. It almost prints nice. Black and black, sorry. That's even worse. Come on. I don't know how to show black here. This almost printed okay. Still a bit shiny, but I can't get it to do a good first layer. If you look, there's just, it doesn't, no matter what I do, you see here, there's there, and some of these are messed up. If you look here, you see all this shit. Whatever happens, doesn't matter how many times I print it, whatever I'm doing, I dried it for like 8 hours. I cannot get it to do on the flatbed anyway, right? A nice first layer. It just looks shit. I don't do ASA. I've not printed an ASA for a very long time. When is Bling back in stock? I don't know. I can't. So I have a problem with Bling. I can't get any more of the LEDs that I use on it. Well, I have good news and bad news for Bling. Good news and bad news. The bad news has been I can't get any more of those LEDs I've been using. Well, I can at 2.5 times the price per LED, which makes Bling be about $100 a Bling. Didn't want to do. And manufacturability of the Bling has never been great. If there's a problem on the LED side, once the second side's populated, I can't fix it anymore, right? But the good news for Bling is my new... That really looks pants. Let me just... No. So this is the 10-inch rack. This is a new version with new face plates. They're still using old acrylic, so there's a scratch on this one, I believe. And brand new cases with new fan layout and everything. And these are using new 1010 RGB LEDs. And, oh wait, have you not seen this? Hang on. Whoa, no. You don't need that one. You need this one. Ooh. Okay, this is the 19-inch version. Come on. Do something. So, I've got a 19-inch version. I've got a 10-inch version. These are using new 1010 RGB LEDs. And I finally got to a 100% manufacturability. My open network rack. Well, that's what these are designed for. These are rack 19-inch, 10-inch, PoE plus. The 19-inch is PoE plus 100% required. The 10-inch, you could probably get away with PoE, as long as you don't push the brightness too much. And, well, look at that. MQTT. Did everyone see that? With a little gauge. I can show you. I've done some really awesome MQTT stuff with this. And I've got SNMP going. And Collingwood with finishing top 8 for those that watch Aussie Rules football. Just wait for it. See, the fan's not even... I did a demo. That's really funny. See the hello went past? Yeah, that was me showing Richard how the editor works the other day. Where's my Testorama message? There we go. So this here, Testorama, has been up for 4 days, 17 hours, blah, 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 blah. That there is SNMP pulling that off one of my Raspberry Pis. Testorama Raspberry Pi, and that is an MQTT message. Anyway, these LEDs are validated now, and so I can build blings with them. But I do have to make a change to the bling boards to get, just from a manufacturability point of view, I had to do a custom footprint for these. Yeah, look, this is hardware-wise. Well, you see the hello go down?
Says what resolution does that make at unexpected marker?
So this one is, so it's 15 pixels high, and that's a really good question. It is 175 across on this one, and this one is 105 across and 15 high. So obviously same height, different width. So anyway, these are, again, new face plates. These are the final face plates. These are the final prints. I still have to solve some of the internals, some of the wiring internally, and I have to solve, obviously, this is also using old acrylic. About the hubs. The hub, the cases are done and validated with ABS. That is JLC. Yes, JLC faceplates, JLC case backs, and you might be able to see, you see the screw holes? They are perfectly flush, countersunk, powder coated screw holes holding it all together. 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom, 2 on the top, and which means it goes perfectly into a rack. There's no scratching or interference or anything. They did a really great job. JLC did a really great job on the metalwork. Let me show you this. So, Steve, I know you haven't seen Pixel Rack before. Let me... So, it's not quite what you think it might be, because it's a no-coding thing. So, trying to think. So this is the interface. This is for the 10-inch one. I don't have the 19-inch connected right now. So the whole thing is a web. Oh, catch you later, Dishipu. Have a good sleep. See, I've made Dishipu tired. So you get live output from the device. Obviously, it's at a low frame rate because otherwise it kills your internet. But you can get a live output, and everything works. For those of you who haven't seen this, everything works via a list of scenes. You've got a whole bunch of scenes, and inside those scenes, you can set up whatever you want, sequences of different types of data sources. Anyway, what I wanted to show you today was MQTT. So I've finally solved how MQTT is going to work on Pixel Rack. So you can see here, I've got my broker set up, it's enabled, it shows it's connected, and the way you deal with data from MQTT, because payloads can be anything, right? Anything at all. And as I mentioned, this is a no programming setup. So what you can do is you can put a topic in, right? So in my office, all my sensors, I've only got one connected right now, they all publish to Space sensors, right? So I've got a wildcard set up, and I can click listen, and what it'll do is it'll sit there for 30 seconds and it'll capture payloads. Oh, there we go. So I've got one of these sensor boards just runs sitting here on my desk. It I think it's every 30 seconds or 60 seconds, it publishes 2 MQTT payloads, one for temperature, one for humidity. I know it could be both together, but I'm happy to leave it like this right now. This allows me, from a development point of view, right? So what this has done, this is now found, it's sniffed 2 payloads from this sensor. And what it lets me do is set up what I want to do with it, right? And there could be totally different payloads coming through. Might not even be JavaScript. It might be YAML, might be XML, whatever. It might just be raw. It doesn't matter. It will listen to anything that's coming in on any number of topics. I can go and add extra topics if I want. So I could do, hang on. I can never remember what my logo one is. Is it Livestream RGB logo? Logo RGB? I think it's logo RGB. If I do a listen, I go logo rainbow. Oh, see? Rainbow. You got the payload. Doesn't care. It gives you a payload. And so what you do is you decide what you want to do with the payload. So in my case, for the temperature, I'm going to click on pick fields, yeah? And, oh, that should have actually opened up inside. Interesting. Well, that's a bug. I probably shouldn't have done it. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. Need to fix that. I need to listen again. I shouldn't have added a topic when I had data source payloads there. My own fault. So I'll sit there for 60 seconds and I'll grab whatever payloads over that 60 seconds. Here they are again. So I can say pick fields, right? And I can give it a name. So I'm going to call it office temp, whatever. And you can, so this is the field that the topic that we listened on, but it'll also show you what other options you can do. So if you want to make this a data source for any temperature sensors that come in, right, you can choose this one. So sensors plus temperature, or if you want to do it just for specifically for this ID, you can pick whatever, right? Now, I think they have SNMP for some info. Okay, so Unify does not have, it has SNMP, it's got no data. Okay, so I have SNMP is on here. Unify API integration, any type of API integration is on here. So yeah, don't have to worry about that. I'm just focusing on MQTT right now. But yeah, you don't SNMP on Unify. They stopped supporting that a long time ago. You have to use their API integration to get any useful data out of it. Otherwise, you just get some placeholder rubbish. I'll show you SNMP after once I get this going. So it automatically detects the payload type as JSON. And what you do is you pick the information that's important. So you say, okay, for this thing, I want to capture the office, the description. I want the sensor value. I want the min value. I want the max value. Probably don't need those. Min and max. I want unit of measurement. And then go, okay, I just want those items. And what it'll do is based on the signature of the payload, so if I save that, right, I can now, if I go into display, I can add a new scene. I'm going to call this temp sensors. And I'm going to select my data source, which will be, where is my data source? I did save this, didn't I? Office temp. Oh, not in the bugs, bugs. Okay, had to refresh it. I'll have to fix that. So I say office temp is my data source, and I can add a sequence. And you can see here, my description, sensor value, and unit of measurement are there. I can just use them. I've created a data source now. So I can say my office temp is sensor value, unit of measurement. I'm going to make it a font is going to be small. Doesn't quite fit, but I can scroll it, get left to right, left to right, right to left. Oh, catch you later, Dave. Have a good sleep. And I'm going to make, change the color of the actual temperature to, I don't know, purple. Office temp. Why is it doing percentage? That's humidity. Okay. I've got a few bugs still. This is actually supposed to be, oh, did I pick the humidity one? Okay, I got a few bugs. It's mixing up the payloads. So anyway, what you can also do with this is right now it's matching the payloads via the signature of the payload. But if you insert a pixel rack ID in the payload, then it'll determine the payload via the pixel rack ID. But I needed to come up with a way that for people that didn't have that in their data, they can still capture their data. Anyway, so SNMP, similar thing, right? Add target. And I'm going to, I can't remember what my RPI, I can't remember what my host name is. I just need to look. Oh, okay. That's not connected, so I can't get to that. What is the, oh, I know what I can do. VNC. Oh, I don't know what the IP address is. I can't remember. I can probably get it from, let me log into our router, 192.168.1.1. Wired is IP 198. 192.168.1.198, right? So I'm just using SNMP12. If you go 3, you need a username and password. You can set the community level, you can set the poll in seconds, etc. And I'm going to save that, right? And I'm going to why can't I scan? Scan. And what scanning does, scanning walks the SNMP target. So you see here it's discovering stuff. So exactly the same thing like MQTT, it'll present me with all of the data available on there. And right now I've got a select list of stuff, like priority stuff, that I show. So if you look here, there's a whole bunch of things that walked and found, right? And it categorizes them. So there's like system stuff, there's CPU memory stuff, storage, whatever. But at the very bottom, you can go to the raw OID tree and you can actually look through every single thing in the whole system. But what this does, this shows you stuff and then you can pick what you want. So you can say, okay, well, I want to be able to get the name and I want to be able to get the uptime and I want to be able to get the, I don't know, space used, physical memory used, and I want to be able to get, I don't know, whatever. The problem with SNMP is it doesn't give you aggregates, right? So it gives you lots of individual things, and aggregating stuff together is a problem. And I want to see if I can solve aggregating. Like, there's 4 cores on the Raspberry Pi, so it gives me 4 unique current CPU core usage, but it doesn't give me a total usage, right? So I need to come up with a way of being able to, instead of grabbing these individually, grab them as a group value, right? But anyway, I've done those, right? It shows me in here the things I've got, and I can save that. And now I have a data source called RPi in my SNMP targets, and these are the things I've got that I can put on the display. So you choose what data you want to capture for whatever target, and you can then build the display to show it however you want. So again, it's a programless thing. And then when it comes to like API stuff, Steve, you got here, you got built-in modules. So I've got things like there's Forex, there's open weather, world clocks, YouTube for your own stuff, YouTube streamers, so you can do a list of streamers, and it'll, like she's here that says I'm live right now. Thanks, Cable Tie. And then what you can do is create your own user modules. So they're endpoints, right? So like in Unify here, I've got Unify API, poll minutes, put my Unify key in. It's a header, it's X API key, so you can set up how it authenticates. And then you can, I don't think I've currently got on this one at work, my API set up. Hang on. Local. No, I don't have an API. Create a new API key. Pixel rack never expires. Create copy key. Okay. Okay, so I've got a new key, but if I go to network API documentation, I don't even know what endpoints there are. I haven't got around to going through all this yet. Come on, give me an example of a freaking endpoint. Okay, so I'm just looking at their docs right now. So if I just do this as an endpoint, if I just call this info and I put that in here, I can click parse, and what that'll do is, right, it goes through and it returns me all the values that I got. So if you look here, this returns application version. That's all it does, right? And here you can see application version was returned. And so you can create a formatted data source. Anyway, there's more work I need to do on these to make them work the same way, where rather than doing a formatted thing, you just pick the items you want to keep, right? But let me see if I can find something else that's on this list that has got some stuff. Anyway, cat facts. Yeah, so cat facts are, so in this case, it's an API, right? It's an endpoint. Magpie facts. Like you can do, I've got jokes, right? So you can basically, through the user modules, you can set up any REST-based API endpoint that you want, any you want, and you can, whether it requires an API key or not, however it authenticates, if it needs it or not. This one's a public one. And then what you can do is you can put endpoints in and then set up what it's going to be. So like I've got this jokes one and I've got programming jokes, right? So I can come back to here. Here's an unused. I've already got an unused, these ones. I can just drag this up. I'm going to put it underneath my network info, right? And I think, is this an old? No? Okay. Right? And here's a joke. So it pulls a joke in, and then again, you've got the different tags. You can set up fonts and effects, as you can see here, and colors and sprites and whatever, icons. But this now is actually on device. So if I show you this, I'm just going to well, actually, it's going to do office temp, and then it should do network info in a second. And then it should show a joke. Hey, see? If Bill Gates had a dime for every time Windows crashed. Oh, wait. He does. Right. Okay. Yeah. Is the web interface using Bootstrap? Only some very low level base classes. Why? It's all custom. There is some Bootstrap for just base form elements only. The rest is all custom JS, custom CSS. And when I say custom, I mean absolute custom. So, like this. So here is a composition editor, yeah, with full timeline editing support, keyframe, timeline. So you can key positions and opacities and stuff, and you can zoom in and out so you can push things off screen. So you can either do a basic thing like here, my YouTube streamers, right? I've got a sequence, and I'm setting up, it's a random color, streamer name, a random color, stream state, and it's going to be a scroll, or it could be a fade in and out. You can adjust that. You can adjust your effects and colors. So I can make, instead of a random color here, I can put an effect here, and make it a, I don't know, rainbow scroll horizontal. And you can see now it's doing rainbow scroll horizontal. So these are for doing basic things like fading in and out or whatever. Obviously on a 10-inch rack, you got less space. Although I can, well, that's already a small font. So
Text says, yeah, that's really cool and customizable.
Right, the whole idea is that you get whatever data you want on the screen, on the display, looking however you want. I added this the other day, actually. So streamer name doesn't fit on here, but I added an abbreviated streamer name. So, I've not set up abbreviated names. So what you can do in modules, if I go to my YouTube streamers, you can set here abbreviated names. So I'm going to make that Superhouse TV, and I'm going to make this one I'm going to save that, and now in here, it will, maybe on the next loop it might update it. Let me just, what? Passwords. Right. There's some data stuff I need to hook in, right? But here now it's doing the abbreviated name, right? So anything that you added, they just become tags you can drag around. So Superhouse TV, no stream, and I'm in the editor preview. It's only showing one. But if I was on the live preview, it should, when it gets to it, will show both. So the point is, it's anything you want to get on the display via no coding and set up whatever you want. But what you can also do is you can push directly to the display through API endpoints. So if you have an application that you want to push data to display and you don't want to like push it through MQTT, or you don't want to set up SNMP on it or whatever, you just want to get something on the display, you can actually send formatted stuff directly to the display by hitting an endpoint through Python or C++ or whatever, right? Through curl, through a bash script. So the whole point of this is get any data onto the display. Like you can't do a composition with it, but you can do a scroll this text in this color or this effect, and it'll just intercept whatever's on there right now. It'll interrupt it, it'll show it, and then it'll continue on through the scenes. So, yeah, look, it's getting close. It's getting very close. Jokes. Do I have any cat facts? Is it hooked up? Editor preview. It might not have. Oh, interesting. Oh, it's using an old sequence system. I've got rid of the old sequence system that I used to have. For those that remember, this is the old one, but it's yeah. So that's not going to work. I have to delete that. Delete the scene. Bye. And everything in here is JSON. So there's a file manager. You can actually see all of these things. You can take them off. You can modify them by hand if you want. No guarantee it'll work when you put it back. Yeah, like as you can see, there's MQTT settings. Everything's JSON. Everything's kind of open, but the source code for this is not open. It's not an open source product at all, hardware or software, but accessibility of the device has been left open outside of this web-based application. So you can look at all your data, you can pull the data off, you can, I guess, inject data on, but you can also push what you want to the display and bypass. Like you could, so all of this stuff is just API endpoints on the device, right? So, I can't remember all my endpoints. API/scenes. That's the scenes, right? You could inject your own scenes file. You could make your own application that drives this display just by bypassing everything in the web app and just pushing whatever data you want directly to the device, right? So yeah, and I guess at some point, once this is out, ooh, see that? I'm live. It said at some point when this is out, I'll document the APIs to allow people to do that stuff. So it's yeah. Okay, that's not what I planned on doing this stream, by the way. I wasn't going to go through that, but I was excited because I got the MQT stuff. Well, it's kind of working. It's working. There's a few things like populating, whatever. When can we buy? I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I'm struggling to get all of my different projects done at the moment. I'm being honest. As I said, there's a few things I need to sort out still. I got to make custom FPC cables for inside, the way all this hooks up together. I mean, I've got production boards already made for my displays and the controllers. You know, I've got enough stuff here to build 4 more 19-inch and 4 more 10-inch racks here right now. So I could build and ship those, but I haven't even finished the pricing on it. I've got more things to do on the app, on the web interface. It's getting close, but there's still more to do. Sure, no problems. I will. And just a heads up, they're not going to be cheap. Nothing's cheap these days, hardware-wise. But this is not. It's not a maker type product, right? It's not designed to be a maker product. It's designed to be an appliance. Plug it in. It straight away tells you what its IP and hostname is, assuming you've got your Ethernet set up, and that's it. You just hit that page. Well, it's commercial, but it's designed to be an appliance, it's not a DIY thing. I mean, you can get one, you can pull it apart if you want to, but it's designed to be a plug it in and use it device. The actual device itself, the firmware will be updatable externally. You don't have to. There's no flashing it or whatever. Right now, the interface is just to grab from a file, but there'll be a web delivery of firmware updates. Yeah. I set the brightness to 100% the other day on the 19-inch rack and took it very high. Tripped my PoE on the port. It shut down the device. I don't recommend you doing that. I've got to put some more safeguards in place. I don't want people damaging their network racks. There's a sprite editor. You can make your own sprites, animated sprites for the display. So you can, anyway, it's a big project. It's been a really, really big project. And it's never ending, but I will get there. It's getting closer and closer. Closer and closer. I don't know if I got the patience to sit in KiCad now and redo this board. Oh, God. I'm going for an hour and a half. For those of you that came here to watch me work in KiCad, I think I'm going to bail on that idea right now. For those in the EU that the function of the web page is insane. Thank you. It is. It's the level of feature creep's been massive. Like, I'm not even sure I'm going to ship the composition editor, which is this one. No, not that one. This one. I don't know if I'm going to ship this. It's not like, it's fully usable and it works. I just don't know how intuitive it's going to be for most people. Like in this, what it's doing right here isn't showing you much. Hang on. What it was designed for, let me just plug the other one in. I've only got one PoE port free at the moment, which is what's this sitting on. Serious question, how big a market is there for this? The people who work with on network racks will love it, but they don't always buy their own gear. I don't know. I don't know. And when I say it's not a DIY thing, whatever else, it's definitely something that people, DIY networking people, or even, electronicsy type makery people might be interested in, but it's not a, hey, can I just buy the controller board and displays and make my own? Or it's not a whatever. Like it's a finished shippable appliance, right? I don't know what the market is. I've always wanted to make one of these. I took it way further than I was originally expecting. Okay, so this is back here. So the 19-inch version shows you a 19-inch preview. That's the live one right now. What was I coming here for? To show? Oh, right. So I don't know if I'm going to ship the this editor because it's complex, right? It's complex to use, but it was designed to allow people to do multi-line info and kind of make stuff that is beyond just a bit of scrolling text. What? Does your microwave have an API? Who's Keith? What? Huh? Anyway, so, I mean, it's designed like you can, animate the actual canvas itself, right? Like you can drag the canvas around. It's real time. Like it's really, I don't know. So I created a keyframe there. I can move it around. I'll go to here. I'm going to Is that snapped? Yeah. So I grab the canvas here and just move it up. There we go. It's animates up. Oh, interesting. Why is that not? There's an angle there. Oh, right. The X is the same. There we go. That's going to make more sense. Anyway, the point is you can do some insane things with it, but I think it's going to be too hard for people to put stuff together with. So I might ship it as a later feature, or I don't know. So you can delete keyframes. Oops. Hello. Why is it not letting me delete the keyframe? Oh, it's not letting me delete the red one. Okay, I need to fix that. I mean, you can draw on it on the canvas as well if you want to. Try it again. Oh, interesting. Not letting me paint canvas. Because there's something there, it's clicking on it. Okay, that's another bug. When in paint mode, it should just be able to paint over the top. But it's not letting me do that. Anyway, bugs, lots of things to fix still. So yeah, I probably will ship it at a later state if I do it all. I got a bunch of animations, but I want to add more. I want to do some Matrix stuff and some war games things and whatever. You can kind of customize. Like you put like a user sprite. I'm gonna put my logo. I'm going to make it scale and fade. So you can do things like make your logo appear, animate your logo coming in. And that's just a sprite that I created. So that's just here. And you kind of create sprites any size you want with a full editor, palettes, and you can even cycle color on a sprite like D-Paint used to do. Deluxe Paint. Those of you that remember Deluxe Paint. So like these got all these different colors, right, in the palette. And so what I can do is, if I go back to here, on my color original, I can tell it to cycle. And see this, it's cycling. So it's my sprite, but it's cycling through all the different colors of the palette. I've done a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. It's just, it is huge. It's huge. And it's all running off the ESP32 S3 on this rack, obviously via Ethernet. I'm going to remove all the Wi-Fi stuff. It's not going to be any Wi-Fi support at all. I think the feature is I think that feature, depending on the price, will be what people will pay the extra for. Hey, Sean. Look, I can release it, whatever. I just need to gate it behind, a very clear, this is an advanced feature. Actually made the best SMP walker I've ever seen. Thanks. Well, basically everything on this has to be a walker, right? So the SMP has to walk the data to extract what's available and present it in a way that you can decide what you want to do. The same with MQTT, right?
Matthews, I'm 20 minutes behind on the video catching up. I think you accidentally made the best SNMP walker I've ever seen. Rolling on the floor now.
Thanks. So I've got to do that with the modules. These modules, they're presenting data differently. They're presenting data the old way I used to do it, where you create a data source and you format the data, and then that's what you've got to use, right? I need to do it differently. I need to update all of these to just return all of, I call them chits, all the little data. This is like a data chit, right? And I need to update these to also just pull everything that the API endpoint can give you, and then you don't decide on this level what to do with it. You decide at the scene level what to do with it, right? So like these here, I call these chits, right? So I've got some built-in gauges. So that's a temperature gauge. I've got a bar gauge as well. All right. Yeah. It's a lot of stuff. I had an idea. I've got an early terrible prototype of doing multi-line content with this, but it's not great. I don't think I'm going to finish it. I'm going to abandon it. Yeah. Anyway. It's a lot of Java. Well, yes, it's mostly JavaScript, and a REST API, all being served from the rack, from the device, from the S3, and with a REST API built in on the S3. So it was the only way to do it in a way that was REST based, so people could access it and see it, whatever, and get the functionality I want. I mean, how else? Other than no, I'm not. If you're asking, is it JavaScript right as it's compared to using React or whatever? Yeah, it's this all native JavaScript. It's all native modern JavaScript and modern CSS. No jQuery rubbishy stuff, and no libraries, no external libraries at all, other than my own JS. And yeah. And everyone's about to be blinded. You're about to be blinded. Close your eyes. But we've got light mode and dark mode with a few things I need to fix. Like these chits don't work very well. So, and everything's drag and drop. So you can reorder your scenes, right? Or you can say, actually, I don't want that at all. I don't want to delete it. I just want to put it to the unused pile. And now it's there. It just not in the sequence. So this sequence here is what is displayed. And you can do multiple sequences inside each scene. So that's like a temp here. I can add another sequence. And I can soon. I don't know. Weather info. Can't spell. So city name, Melbourne. What's Melbourne? Feels like. It feels like 14. Bounce is a bit yuck. It doesn't quite work. I need to fix bounce. It doesn't go far enough. You can do a scroll with a hold, right? It'll hold in the middle for a certain period of time, which in this case doesn't really help much. Melbourne feels like, and it stops. But of course, you can. Yeah. Still got some dragging issues sometimes. Oh, these palette is far on here. Anyway, so there's two sequences in there now, right? And again, you can change the order of the sequences. So you can decide how things loop. And so like on here, networking info, on hostname only ever fires once. So first time it boots, it shows you your hostname. And then that only then it shows, and then the afterwards it only shows the IP and uptime. So you can tell it to how often you want to show things. You got full control over how often things poll. So like with the jokes, every 30 minutes it'll grab a new joke. Like my AFL, I've got it every 40 minutes. I can't do that on this API. Has to have minutes that get sent to it, which is really frustrating. But like, here's an example of the old formatted thing, right? So I call this Collingwood stats. It's coming from an API for AFL, and so this standings returns an array, and that array is what you do is you can say, okay, I want it to be the first or by index, match exact. I can go like contains name Collingwood, or match exact name, right? And then it'll actually give me, if I parse it, it'll actually give me all of the available data. So it not only pulls the tags, it pulls all the data and shows you everything. So when you're constructing something, like I've done here with name, rank, wins, losses, it actually does it off the data and shows you, right, everything. So I can say, you know, I could have done for everyone who's has got 2 draws, right, to get the data out of it. So it's, I don't want to do that, by the way. Yeah. The last thing that's missing from here, not from the modules, just in general, and it was brought up by someone a while ago, and is some form of logic where you can make it display this data if it's this, or this data if it's that, like an if then whatever. But I'm not sure how that could get implemented. All these data things come in so many different formats, so many different ways, so many different, like, and this is all it's assuming it's JavaScript, right? But with MQTT, it could be, XML, YAML, or just plain text, right? Having to parse all that stuff is a pain in the ass. Makes the keyframe canvas editor an advanced option that's disabled by default. No, not disabled. If I'm going to ship it, I'll just have to, I'm going to need some really good documentation, right? And it's going to have to be really robust. I mean, there's some obvious problems with, like, if you look at here, because this animates in and out and it fades up and down, this always shows frame 0 here, and frame 0 is no opacity. Oh, I need to fix the colors here too. No opacity, right? So you don't get to see what's here. You get to see it on the editor preview, but I just don't think this is overly intuitive, not getting to see what the elements are that you're clicking on, right? So you can also obviously click on them here and it'll highlight it, show you, but it's, yeah. There's a lot about this that I'm just not sure in its current state how usable or how intuitive it's going to be for people. That's my concern. And I don't really know how to solve stuff like that without doing multiple previews. Maybe it needs a button that says ignore opacity or something. I don't know. Label them in the top corner. Well, it's not the labeling of it. It's the fact that you just can't see them and you can move them around. So at frame 0, I can change this, right? I can move this up here, right? And now, that stays up top now. But, you can't see what it is you're doing other than this preview here. And, and this canvas is wider. What process did you choose for the back covers? These are nylon. They're SL, no, no. Shit, I don't know. I'll have to look it up. I'll let you know, Peter. I mean, they're great. They came out great. They really have. But they had some problems with them. They had to print them twice. They all failed the first time. Not sure why. They didn't tell me why. So it took a little while. MJF. That's the one. Thank you. MJF. Multi-jet fusion. So yeah, I need to just make it clear that this is going to be a very advanced feature, and then work out how I can make it more intuitive. I'm not a fan of scrolling info. I prefer to break the LED display into columns and fit as much info on one screen without scrolling. So the linear editor, etc., would be a feature. Right, but you can do that right now. You don't have to. You don't have to do the scrolling, and you don't have to use that linear editor, right? So you could do. So if I make another, okay, I'm just going to go back to dark mode. So I'm going to add another scene. So a scene is a data source, and then in anything you do inside that is on that data. You can't mix data sources together. So I'm going to go back to my YouTube, right? So I'm going to do the same thing again. YouTube, I'm going to add a sequence, and I'm going to say, okay, my I'll do a fade in, fade out, and I'm going to go subscribers. So I'm going to go that. So I don't know, I'll do like that blue and that darker blue. Okay, and then save that, and I can add another sequence and make this one views, and then I'll add another sequence and make this one videos. Make them all small. You can change fonts mid-thing. So I could actually do this. I could go font. Oh my God. I have some issue. Sometimes it does a drag over the text. It doesn't grab the thing. So I'm going to go large size here and then small. Why not? So, and you can do that. And now I've got 3 different sequences that'll play. So if I move that to up the top and tell it to restart the scenes. Right, so it doesn't reboot the device, it just restarts the scenes from the top. Right, and now you're showing the YouTube data as 3 unique things. Right, you don't have to do the composition system and manually whatever. You know what I mean? Like you can assemble things that way if you want to. Does that make sense, Sean? Yeah. So what you can't do outside of the advanced editor, the composition editors, you can't do multi-line. So at the moment, I don't know an easy way to allow people to do multi-line with something like that. Non-visible objects, the bounding box approach is how I've seen most animation editors handle that, both with a named label. Dot right. Yeah, it's not working out what's what. It's just not being able to see the actual content is the problem. Not being able to visualize what it is when it's opaque. Yeah, I think probably the easiest thing is going to be just a toggle button that that can turn off opacity and not an alpha. Why shadow? I don't understand. The thing to solve is not being able to see the items, right? You can click on them and see what they are from here. Putting a label, fine. The issue is just you can't see it. It just looks for those that aren't used to working on some type of timeline editor, it's going to be jarring, I think. Although they would have had to do that, right? There is a dotted outline. What do you mean? The opacity is there because I set it. By default, it's not there, right? I actually set the opacity of the canvas, right? It's the canvas opacity. I can do that. So it looks like this because I chose that. That's not how it looks by default. Okay, by default, there is no keyframes on the canvas. So it would have looked like this when I was putting it all together. Okay, but even still, it's yeah. Look, I don't know. I don't know. I need to keep at it, keep working on it, keep tweaking things. Yeah. By default, the canvas sits in the middle, not off to the side like it is there, right? And it, sure. You can also tell it to pause the preview, but the preview will still only play or pause. It doesn't show you this, only the canvas here does, right? So, maybe when it's paused, I can have it show what's happening here. Maybe that would be a good way to do it. Or maybe I'll have 3 buttons: pause, play, and something. So this updates with it, maybe. That's going to be difficult. Oh, so many. This is such a complicated code base. Such a complicated code base. Doesn't look complicated here, but it's yep. So I'm using Bootstrap mini icons for some of the things, right? These icons, and I'm using I said form element stuff, scripts. We don't want to see this. Look at this is my app script. It's fully documented. This is also not minified. Whenever I build it, it's got minified and non-minified, but for the moment, I'm not serving the minified. That's half of my JavaScript, and this is the other half of my JavaScript. There's 2 massive JavaScript files. Yeah. So it's pretty crazy. CSS. Not many images. The bounding boxes, that's awesome. Hello, views. Search hello, views. Thanks, Sean. Yeah. I don't know why it's pulling this in just for the fonts. Probably need to get rid of that. Use something else. Anyway, it's pretty crazy. Ooh, connection was that was me clicking before when it wasn't plugged in. Apparently, it doesn't like doing that. So right now, I don't have any detection when it goes away, right? So if I'm sitting on here, if I unplug the rack, the pixel rack. Okay. I intentionally don't make this UI go, oh, lost connection, right? I mean, if I try to stream live, it's just going to probably error in the console everywhere. But I'm deliberately not making it go, I've lost connection, because when I'm working, because I've only got the one PoE port free at the moment, when I'm working, I'll jump around between the two, right? When I'm checking things, and I don't want, even though I can't go and edit the data on the device, it's not there, I can, because this is persistent, it's browser side, a lot of the stuff does stay, like this will remember its last state, right? But I can't click on this and edit it because I can't get to the device. So, but it does allow me to compare things, but I need to actually make it go connection lost and stop allowing me to click on things. So, yeah. So close. So close. I'll get there at some stage. And then I've got to work out how I'm going to package it and ship it. So many things to sort out. Website, marketing stuff, and instructions, tutorials. Yeah, so many things. And I still need to keep fleshing out the API endpoint stuff. Actually, that reminds me. I don't remember if I've got that enabled. See, I've just plugged that back in, and it's straight away, it refines it, and it's connected. But, yeah. Anyway, I don't know if the endpoint stuff, the API endpoint stuff, Claude ship it. No, I've actually banned Claude from a whole chunk of this code base. Not allowed to touch it. I'm almost jumped away from Claude and tried Grok the other day. I'm so unhappy with Claude and Anthropic at the moment. It's just Opus is terrible. Opus 5 is terrible. I've stopped using Opus 5. I'm now just suffering through Fable 5. Just Claude's become a real pants to work with, I gotta say. So Claude's not allowed to touch my CSS anymore. Claude's not allowed to touch my advanced editor. This is my advanced editor. So there's JavaScript split into two. This advanced editor is just its own JS, so I can disable it if I want. That if I choose not to ship it, it doesn't get included. And this JS here actually gets served currently from the web, not from the device, because I need to make rapid changes. The rest of the JS, the app JS, is the rest of the application that does like live previews and all the other stuff. But it just kept doing some not nice. It kept breaking rules and kept duplicating CSS and not reusing CSS, not reusing styles, doing some really nasty things. And I've literally, the only way I could stop it from doing it was to ban it from touching certain files and certain folders in my project. It just kept touching things I wasn't supposed to and changing things. Really regressed, I gotta say. Anyway, should probably up the version. I'm waffling now, and I am. I'm going to wind the stream up and go get a coffee. The good news for the racks is they will be cheaper than I originally thought they were going to be, but I'm not ready to announce a price. But there was a period of time where I thought they were going to be more expensive. That's what I was saying before. Those of you in the EU, I've not been shipping to the EU. I haven't been able to ship to the EU. Australia Post have finally changed their shipping system, and maybe, so I kept getting packages rejected from customs, specifically mostly from Germany, but or from Austria, from where else? Italy wasn't rejected, but I had to shut it all down because Australia Post broke stuff, and so I was getting stuff like, gotta be careful not to show anything. Like I was getting this back from German customs, right? Missing IOR or EORI or no PDDP for business to consumer item, which is rubbish because these are all done through electrons and using electrons IOOS number, which always worked in the past, but Australia Post, when EU changed their importing rules recently, 1st of July, whatever, Australia Post botched their website and broke everything. Jonathan, yes, but and so now they weren't submitting their IOSS stuff correctly to customs and didn't tell anyone, and so I've had like 7, 8, 9 packages returned now from like didn't even get past customs. Australia Post won't refund me for them. I had to obviously refund everyone, but it looks like they've now potentially fixed it. But I'm too scared to enable shipping again in electrons and have them get returned to me again. So anyone in the EU that wants to help me test a shipment, reach out to me on something and I'll send you something. My expense, depending on what it is. My expense, to see if I can get things through someone in Germany. Let's keep it simple because Germany is the worst. Like every single thing that went to Germany got sent back. And so these were shipped before the cutoff date and still sent them back because they arrived after the cutoff date. Anyway, if you're in Germany and you want to help me out you're probably asleep already if you're in Germany, you want to help me out to see if I can ship stuff to the EU again, that'll be great because I don't want to launch my smart hub. I don't want to launch my Pixel rack. I don't want to launch anything at the moment when I can't ship at all to the EU. So, I mean, that'd suck. If I have to, I will, but I'd rather not. So let me know. I can be a Dutch target if you need one. I wonder if I don't know if I've got the same issue there in the Netherlands, Quindor. I'll speak to you offline. I hadn't sent anything during that period of time to the Netherlands, so I don't know if I would have had that same problem or not. Most of the stuff I ship to EU goes to Germany. Germany or France is the most, I mean, other than the UK, but the UK doesn't have this problem. But unfortunately, I had to turn off UK. I had to turn it all off. Yeah. Also noticed Germany is one of the hardest countries also for the stuff I ship from China, for instance. Yeah. It's just, in this case, it was Australia Post. They stuffed up. How am I going to ship the Pixel rack? What do you mean, how am I going to ship it? I'm going to get on an aeroplane and hand deliver every single unit. That's how expensive they're going to be. No. They're going to ship in a box. I need to get some custom boxes made. As I said, like I need to work out how I'm going to ship them because they need to be protected really, really well inside a box. But I want it to be a really nice looking box. It's got to be matte black, long, protected, no foam. It's got to all be cardboard inside. Comes with 1 day of on-site installation. Yes. The Pixel rack is $1 and shipping is $2,500 each, plus hotel and lobster dinner. I'm kidding. If it needs on-site installation help, I failed with the product, I think. So, yeah. And like I still have to work out things like what are the default things it's going to ship with. You know, like it's got to boot up and do something, right? Matt, what are you doing? Thank you, Matt. Matt Black is the best. Black. Matt. Yeah. It's actually very funny. Yep. But yeah, I want a nice, sleek looking case, box for it. But it's got to be internally. It's got to be not molded cardboard. It's got to be the cardboard's got to be done in a way that it really supports the metal and everything. Bunnings box and no. My other option was going to be in tubes, ship in a tube with custom support inside that it sits inside. But I made my SQUiXL boxes quite difficult to build, and I don't want to get myself in a hole again doing something similar. But this needs to be protected. Yes, it does. Matte black boxes can definitely get scratched and marked easily and look bad. I get it. Unless you put a layer of varnish over the top of them. You do it with matte varnish, and then they don't get marked at all. But on a business card, that doesn't cost much, and on a box, that costs a lot. Poster tubes are strong, but they look terrible. Terrible. Could you imagine if your brand new Unify device that they just shipped you came in a poster tube or a Officeworks box, brown box? Nah. I don't think I can do that. No, the box will definitely not cost more than a product. Like, this is not a cheap product. It is by far the most expensive endeavor I've ever done. It is. I mean, think about how much 2005. Hang on, how many again? Think about how much 2,625 LEDs cost. Just for the LEDs. I mean, this is not a cheap device. The box cost will pale in comparison, but still, it's a cost, an added cost, and it's design. I need to source a company that can make them, and I'll need them done locally to start with. I'm not going to be able to do the minimum order quantities for China, and then I don't know how I'm going to ship them from China without damaging them. I mean, it'll be a fairly decent size when it's flat. A decent size things I've got to ship. And, I don't need to necessarily put branding and stuff all over them. Maybe like a nicely printed like foil sticker or something on them would look nice enough. It doesn't have to be, offset printed, but they need to be done. If you're going down the big green shed way, going down the big 90mm PVC and some pool noodles stuffed in the end with end caps done. Yep. Absolutely will not be doing that. Sean? I would rather never ship this and throw away all the work I've done than ship that like that. Not happening. No. Anyway, what I'll probably end up doing is getting the box as small as possible, and then maybe the box will go inside a poster tube. So you get it arrives, poster tube, you open the poster tube, and inside is a nice box, but the box has been protected. And then you get your device in a box. The good news is there's no power supply, there's no cables, there's no whatever, right? I mean, it's literally, and look, yeah, like it requires PoE. So, I mean, this one's not so bad. It's not very long, but the 19-inch racks, it's pretty long, and got some weight to them now. Anyway, yeah, sure, JRC will have custom package service. Yeah, probably. Sounds like who lives in Toorak? Me? I don't live in Toorak. No. And a microfiber arm cloth. Well, I still have to work out how I can cut the acrylic and leave the covering on the front without damaging it. There's no way I'm getting custom ones and putting them back on again. So it won't need a microfiber cloth if I can ship it with the plastic still on the front. That's what these end mills are for. But I haven't had time to even look at this. Like I'm really time poor at the moment with all the different things I'm doing. So, I mean, poor me. No, it is what it is. I'm just getting small chunks of time. Like I need to put aside like a whole day or 2 whole days to sort the acrylic out. Not just how do I get it to cut exactly the right perfect size that fits on both sizes? How do I not destroy the front plastic? And how do I do it and reproduce it and do it in an efficient manner? It's going to be a great product though, worth the time and investment. I hope so. Thanks, Quindor. I hope so. Like I've really, really, really tried my best to make this as as good as it can be. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Quindor, I added that second port, right? I told you that. See, there's 2 ports at the back now. So that one there is not I2C. But I need to do something about sensors. I don't have any. And I want to know how you have them configured. And if you have a board or something you connect them to, because obviously I'm going to need to do that for me to add support. So for those of you that aren't aware, this second port, so this first port here is an I2C breakout, but there's nothing to plug into it, right? It was done early on. I don't know what it could be used for. I've got no software support for it, and you won't be able to program your own support for it because it's not an open source project, right? But because it's on I2C, then they can't be used for anything else. There's other things on that bus. I don't think I'll be doing a bigger version. Anyway, the second port though is designed to plug in 1 wire, possibly 2 wire, but no, 1 wire temperature sensors. Like people use what are they? The DS, was it 182? I can't remember. I got it almost close. 18B20s. If you've got different temperatures and just through your rack or whatever, you'll be able to grab them and get all that as a data source. But I haven't worked on that yet because I've got none of those sensors. I need to get some. So right, 10 inches. Right, so that's the other thing that I need to solve. Not everyone wants to put this inside a rack, so I need this with a different case. But it's still going to be PoE, right? There won't be a version of this that runs off Wi-Fi and USB. It'll still be a PoE requirement. It'll just be in a non-rack thing. No, don't buy it for the racks. It could always be marked as a small business shop signs. Sure. Keep that for wave 2. Well, I figure people are going to ask. I mean, you don't have to stick this on a rack. Like they're sitting on my desk, right? It just, when you've got the ears on the side, it just looks maybe, I don't know. Anyway. Small business. The problem is that there are products out there, small business smart signs that are going to be that are much cheaper than this, right? And they're totally different. Yeah, I don't want to. I'm not going to try to compete in that market. This is yeah. Not really, cable tie. Every minute it's not on the market is lost revenue only when you have a product finished and shippable. This is not shippable yet. It's getting close, but it's not shippable yet. Some 3D printed sloped ends slide over the ears to hold it. Sure. Or just a different case. Yeah. Finish it, then expand. Yeah. You have a use for a few. Like I need a way of, I want to make a version of it that mounts to the bottom of my screen. If only you could see this, but you can't. That would look. Now it's got to be perfect and shippable. But yes, but without the extra feature creep of different versions. But I totally get it, cable tie. Yeah. As if this is going to ship non-perfect, not a chance. Not a chance. Now to the bottom of your screen, go 100% brightness, bad news. Well, if it just doesn't matter if you mount it or not. If you just go 100% brightness, it's bad news. I need to cap that. Anyway. Okay. I'm going. I need to get on with things. I need to do my first run of my TINYC6 Nanos, my new ones. And yeah. Need to start the lineup. Okay, folks, have a great day. And I'm sorry I didn't do any kayaking. I planned to, but I also hadn't planned to spend so much time on the pixel rack stuff. But I'm kind of glad I did, because now there are a few bugs I need to fix, and I just worked out what they are, which is good. Thanks everyone for your feedback. I really appreciate it. And have the best imagination, cable tie. Especially you. You have an insane imagination. Insane. About 50% of mine, though. So, just saying. Anyway. Oh, it's just stupid. I'm going to go get a coffee, and I'm going to start the lineup, and then sweat on the line all day. Okay. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Catch you all later.